Vice President Kamala Harris campaigned in Dallas earlier amid continuing questions by some Democrats about whether President Joe Biden should step aside and not run for re-election. The vice president spoke before thousands of members of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, the nation's oldest and largest black sorority. Our political reporter Jack Fink is live for us now at the Kay Bailey Hutchison Convention Center with more on what the VP had to say earlier today. Jack?
Well, Ken, the vice president didn't mention the concerns by some Democratic leaders about President Biden staying in the race. She criticized former president and presumptive Republican nominee Donald Trump and had a warning about a potential second Trump term. Thousands of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority sisters wearing their official colors of salmon pink and apple green welcome one of their own, Vice President Kamala Harris, to their Dallas convention.
Oh, my heart is full.
The vice president reminded women here about the work she said she and President Biden have done to expand access to affordable health care and capping the cost of insulin for the elderly. But she said despite that, the country faces a threat from Republicans.
We are witnessing a full-on assault on hard-fought, hard-won freedoms and rights.
Among those, she said, reproductive or abortion rights.
Understand how we got here. Then President Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court, the Court of Thurgood, because he intended for them to overturn Roe v. Wade, and as he intended, they did.
Into the United States.
The vice president's visit to Dallas comes amid rising poll numbers for former President Donald Trump, not only nationally, but in the critical battleground states where the election will be won. Trump has received higher marks than President Biden and Vice President Harris when it comes to what Americans consider the biggest issues in the polls: inflation and the economy and border security. Alexia Barber, a sorority member from Dallas, is among those with a message for the various Democratic leaders calling on President Biden to withdraw from the race.
Reconsider the call to possibly have another nominee to stand in place as our president.
So you're standing by him?
I am standing by him now. I think it would be a crucial mistake for us to pivot at this point.
They've been doing a great job and great work, and so I just think at the end of the day, we should just continue the work that has been going on.
The vice president urged her fellow sorority sisters to support their re-election.
I do believe this is the most existential, consequential, and important election of our lifetimes.
Supporters chanted 4 more years as she left the stage, and then at the airport as she prepared to board Air Force Two back to Washington, D.C., some of the members of the network press pool shouted questions to her, trying to ask her about the situation involving President Biden and whether he should be staying in the race. She did not respond. Some 20,000 members here registered for this convention, which wraps up tomorrow. Live in downtown Dallas, Jack Fink, CBS News, Texas.